You're listening to The Monetized Mom, the podcast that teaches moms of faith how to monetize their expertise online to create influence, impact, income, and more importantly, financial independence. I'm your host, Flo Alexander. Let's chat. Hey, Money Mamas, welcome to the Monetized Mom podcast. I'm your host, Flo Alexander, and in this week's episode, we're going to be talking about how to level up your customer experience. You definitely want to stick around for this one. Now, before I get started, I want to share a free resource with you. The Monetized Mom Master Playbook is my 4-part framework for turning your expertise into a profitable online business. And yes, you heard right, it's free. You can grab it now at themonetizedmom.com/freebie. Again, that's themonetizedmom.com/freebie. Now let's get on with this episode. All right, friends. So here's the deal. A customer's experience can make or break your business. In today's world of social media, there is an immediate and impactful word of mouth that can spread both positive and negative experiences with your brand. And that's why services like Google Reviews and Yelp thrive. They allow others to immediately see why they should or shouldn't do business with you. It's kind of like you leaving a 5-star review of this podcast after listening to it on Apple Podcasts. So just shameless plug. But literally just think about the power of people sharing their customer experiences and how that impacts brands. So just recently, there was the fiasco with the brand Honey Pot. There was some misinformation that spread like a wildfire and pretty much tarnished the brand's name and even the founder. And the people who loved them one day, all of a sudden, just hated them the next day. And I did love in air quotes because people are fickle. But nonetheless, it just shows you the power of social media and the impact that it has on how your customer experience gets shared with other people. So in a nutshell, your customer experience matters. Unfortunately, though, many people don't realize this and drop the ball, and that's why we're talking about it today. And this actually, quite honestly, stemmed from an experience that I had that I wanted to just blast off on social media about, but I figured it'd make better sense in podcast format so I can break down some of the failures that I experienced as a customer receiving service from another business. Now, before I get started, I do want to be clear that this applies to you if you have a service or a product-based business. If you're in business, period, online or offline, these are things that you need to consider if you want to ensure that your customer, your client, has a great customer experience. So when it comes to curating an amazing customer experience, here are 3 things that you need to focus on. 1, you need to focus on customer service, which is obvious. 2, you need to focus on consistency. And 3, you need to focus on communication. And y'all know I'm good for a good alliteration. Okay, so let's talk about customer service. So I'm going to tell you guys a story, and this is a story that actually prompted me to make this podcast episode. So it wasn't too long ago, I decided to go get my nails done. Now, I'm not a nail person. I do not go get my nails done every week. I don't wear acrylics. That has never been me. I have very healthy, natural nails. However, recently, I don't know if it's just because I'm excessively washing my hands and washing dishes and all that stuff, my nails have been breaking. And so I wanted to go to someone to do my nails so that I can get like a layer on them, like a gel or a dip on them so that they can be strengthened. So I'm not in there trying to get designs. I'm really literally just going to get either gel or acrylic dip on there that's a neutral color so that my nails aren't breaking as they were. So that just sets the kind of stage for who I am as a customer. Very basic. So anyway, I ended up finding someone through a mutual acquaintance, so to speak. So the girl, let me just tell y'all, the girl who does my waxes, one of the estheticians that I go to, she had tagged the girl who did her nails. I checked out the Instagram profile. I was like, okay, she can do what I need her to do. I don't need, elaborate designs. I just need something basic. She seems to have quality work. I'm going to go to her. So booking her was pretty simple. That process wasn't hard at all. I just went on her website, paid the deposit, booked. Everything was automated. So, there was no issues from that standpoint. However, when I arrived, it all kind of went downhill. Okay. Now, I will say that my experience wasn't terrible, but it wasn't enough to convince me to come back or be a repeat customer. Okay. So here's what happened. Before I could sit down, she basically, I don't want to say she shoved it in my face, but she pretty much was like, the first thing she did, not even greeting, not even saying, oh, have a seat. You can put your bag here, just relax, blah, blah, blah. She just tries to hand me the little color wheel thing. Y'all know, if you get your nails done, you know what I'm talking about. But the color samples, and I was like, hold up, little shorty. First of all, I have a picture of what I want, so you don't have to shove that in my face, okay? And so I showed her the picture. We were good. She did quality work. I'm not putting anything against her work. Her experience just wasn't welcoming. I almost felt like when she asked me the question, do you get your nails done often? And I said no, I almost felt like she automatically was like, well, she's not about to be one of my high ticket customers or repeat customers. So let me just go ahead and get her done so she can get out of here. So my experience was not a welcoming experience. Now, I have to put this caveat in here because this is important. And some of you may or may not understand this, but I am a Black woman who lives in the South and pretty much at this point in America, period. So sometimes that alone, me being a Black woman, that is enough to not get stellar service to begin with. And trust me, I have stories, okay? So that alone is enough to not get stellar service. But I, of course, did my due diligence before. I checked her IG to make sure that it was a place that was welcoming all people, if you catch my drift. And I saw that, hey, she's a place that she does service people of color. So I did feel comfortable going there, and I didn't feel like, okay, this will be a barrier to me getting good service. So I just want to put that out there. And for those of you who are wondering, like, really, is this a thing? Yes, this is absolutely a thing in 2022. If you have not been watching the news, you have been living under a rock, there are still issues that exist that require me to make sure that I am in a situation where I'm comfortable and I feel safe. Okay. So I just wanted to put that in there. So I figured that that was not the issue. And it was just that she had poor customer service, or she felt like I'm not a high ticket customer. Therefore, I'm not going to treat her in a way that would make her come back. And I'm going to give her grace and say possibly it could have been a bad day, but nonetheless, that one interaction could cost her me coming back or me even referring other people to her because I have the platform to be able to do that. So when it comes to your customer experience, it is super important because that can cost you money and it can cost you clients down the road. And more importantly, it can cost you your reputation, which you do not want to tarnish. And here's the thing I think a lot of us have to realize. There are hundreds of people in this area that can do nails. So it's not as if she is the only person that I can go to. It just happens that I went to her off of a referral, so to speak, or social proof rather. But I don't have to go to her. There are other places that I can go and other places that I am exploring because I'm going to have somebody take these, this dip off my hands. I'm going to have someone soak it off. So I think that's as important to know is like, you are not the only one who does what you do. Therefore, your customer experience needs to be able to differentiate you from other people. Okay. So what does this mean for you? Obviously, some of you may not be a nail tech. Basically, the experience that your client or customer has is important. I'm making a whole podcast episode off of a customer experience. Imagine what your customers are doing. They may not be making a podcast episode, but they may be sharing their experience with their friends who could be potential clients of yours as well. And the best way to ensure that they have a great one is to literally walk through each step and interaction that you have with your customer or your client and evaluate how you can make it better. How can you ensure that ensure them that they've made the right buying decision? So literally break down your process, your interaction, your workflow. If you don't have a process, then that's a signal to tell you need to have a process in place and you need to evaluate each step, each interaction. How do I make this an experience that they are having a positive experience and that they are willing to share with others? Here's the thing. You want to create a customer experience that makes you the choice and not a commodity. I'll say that again. Create a customer experience that makes you the choice and not a commodity. Commodities are chosen based on price. Luxury is chosen based on experience and quality. No one's out here trying to compare the price of a bag at Louis Vuitton versus the price of a bag at Gucci. No, they have two different brands, two different experiences, two different, probably the same target audience, but two different experiences that they're trying to give, two different creatives. No one is sitting there comparing that, but I guarantee you someone's probably comparing commodity items between Target and Walmart or Walmart and the dollar store. So don't be a commodity with your customer experience. Don't make your customer experience cause you to be a commodity in your industry. So the second thing that you want to focus on is consistency. Here's your rule of thumb. You want the same experience every time. Every customer should have the same experience every single time. I don't know where I heard this story at. It literally could have been in a training or somewhere. I can't remember. But it was a story about this guy who went to a barbershop. The first time he went to the barbershop, they offered him water, a drink, and the service was amazing. The next time he went to the barbershop, they didn't offer him a drink, but the haircut was comparable to the previous time. The next time, the quality just kept decreasing and the experience just kept changing every time. He wasn't able to know what to expect every time he went there. So here's the thing. You want to have a consistent experience for your customers every time, regardless of if they are high ticket customers or if they are not. I need to feel just as special as a basic nail person as the person who's coming to get, $200 worth of acrylics done to their nails. Okay. That experience needs to be consistent. So how do you ensure consistencies? That's why you have standard operating procedures. And I harp on that all the time. If you follow me on Instagram, if you ever watch any of my live streams where I've been giving business advice, that is why having standard operating procedures is so important. You want to have a consistent customer experience. If I come to you in May and then I come to you in December, I want to have a consistent customer experience. Now, you might up level and you might do some new things that makes the experience better, but surely the quality and the experience that I have should be consistent. So SOPs are important and so are systems. So you have to have standard processes and procedures that you follow so that you can create that consistency in your business. And I believe I've talked about this before, but the analogy is if you are baking cakes, right? If you deviate a little bit from the recipe, your cake that you make is going to be inconsistent with the previous cake that you make. There's not going to be consistency in the taste and the quality and the texture if you deviate. That is why you have to have standard processes and procedures. And if you think about it, having a recipe for how you do things in your business, this will ensure that your customer has a consistent experience with you. Now, here's the other thing that you need to be consistent with that I've experienced. And I want to share another story. Pricing. You need to be consistent with pricing. And when I mean consistent with pricing, I mean among clients. Okay. I remember I must have been in like high school when this happened, but a friend of mine had gotten her hair done. Y'all, this was back in the day when micro braids were popping. So a friend of mine had gotten her hair done by someone that we both knew. And it was very neat work, looked good. Now, mind you, y'all, I can braid my own hair, but sometimes you just don't feel like doing it. So I was like, okay, who did your hair? She told me. I was like, cool, let me call her and see, if she can do my hair. So I called this person and I said, hey, I heard you did. I don't think I told her that I knew she did someone else's hair. I just asked her, how much is it to get my hair done? Do you know this girl told me, hold on. She comes back to the phone and she gives me a price that's higher than what I know my friend paid. So I was like, okay, thank you. And I did not go to her. The price was inconsistent. Also, I feel like she was trying to charge me more because she thought I had money and I don't play that game. So you need to be consistent with pricing. I also heard this same similar story. There's another podcast that I listened to and one of the hosts was talking about, she went to get her hair done. She went to get microlinks. and she had gone off a referral. And of course, the referral is going to tell you how much they paid. But when she got there, she was like, the lady racked up the charges on her. And I forgot how much she ended up walking out having to pay. But the price was inconsistent. You have to be consistent with the price. Don't be lacking integrity. And if you're listening to this podcast, I'm assuming that this is not your character, because if it is, I don't want to be associated with you, just period. But your pricing needs to be consistent, okay? Don't be quoting somebody one price and then the next day you're quoting another price to someone else, unless it is a legitimate price change. And in that case, you need to be able to communicate, hey, I know you came off a referral. That person, got it when the price was this. This is the new price, okay? But you need to be consistent with pricing. If not, it shows a lack of integrity, and I just don't deal with people like that. So that's the second thing: consistency in experience, and also consistency in pricing. Now, the last thing that you need to have to ensure that your customer has an amazing experience is you need to focus on communication. You need to have communication. Your customer or client should never not know what's going on. I'm pretty sure that was probably a double negative, but they should never be in the dark about what's going on. If you are selling a product, they should know the status of that product at all times. And when you order something off Amazon, or you order something from someone who has a Shopify shop, you're going to be able to track where that product is. That product has been packed. That product has received a label. That product has shipped. That product is on the way. The product has been delivered. Your customer should never have to guess what is going on, because then that makes them think, did these people take my money? Did they take my money, and am I not going to get my product? You never want that person to have that anxiety or that worry about what you've done with their money. So you need to communicate. If you are offering a service, they should be clear on what the next steps are and what to expect. So for instance, someone enrolls in the Monetize Mom Accelerator. They're going to get email after email. They're going to get a video. They're going to be taken to a page that says, here's what you need to do next. Here's what's going to happen next. When they do that, they're going to get an email said, these are the steps that are going to happen next. Here's what you do next. Communicate again. You want to put them at ease. Again, this helps. It helps when you have standard processes and procedures. And when you have things standardized, you know what to communicate and when. So this is super important, especially if someone is paying you high ticket or paying you a lot of money. They need to know what's happening. You need to communicate and over communicate, and in various medians. So written communication, verbal communication, there needs to be communication around the board so people know what's going on. So never leave your client or your customer in the dark. And if you are providing a service, right? As you are providing that service, and I mean like a physical service. So if, for instance, you're doing someone's hair, you need to be communicating throughout that process as well. Okay, I'm about to wash your hair. We're about to do this. Okay, I see that you need your ends clipped. Do you want me to clip your ends? Communicate. Don't be chopping people's hair off without their permission. Communicate. Okay, so I hope I communicated that effectively. But these are the things that you really need to focus on if you want your customers and your clients to have a positive experience that they rave about, and that they send you emails about saying, hey, you are top tier, you are quality. Or when they enroll in your program and they see the surprise on their welcome page, they're like, this is nice, right? You want to have that feedback from your customers that lets you know that, hey, I am giving them an experience that they do not regret investing in. Okay. So I want to share a few hacks that could help you in your business to ensure that you have a great experience. The first hack I want to tell you is to have an admin email account. Even if you don't have an admin, have an admin email account that you use to respond to customer issues that you may have, or anything relating to customer interaction. You want to have an admin account. Now, I've had an admin that's actually used it, and there have been times when I have not had an admin and I responded from that account. Let me tell you what that does for you. One, it separates you personally from the customer, especially like in the business that I'm in, where it's high volume. Like I get a lot of people to my blog. I get, people downloading stuff all the time. I get people buying stuff. And sometimes there may be issues like with a download or something like that, something wrong with the system. So there is customer interaction. Sometimes people are not so nice. So to separate myself from that interaction, because the way Phoenicia personally might react to it would be different from how I would want, my admin or, my customer to experience, right? So I have an admin account. So in times where I don't have an admin, if I'm flexing between a VA or something like that, I can use that as a barrier to respond. And so I put myself in an admin state of mind, a customer service state of mind, and I'm able to respond a whole lot differently. So that is a hack that I would share with you, is to get an admin email account. And even if you don't have an admin or a virtual assistant, a VA, use that when you are having customer interactions. One, so it kind of puts your customer, your client in the mindset of you don't always have immediate access to me. And two, it allows you to respond in a state of mind of a customer service person. So your response is going to be a lot different from, you responding to someone who's probably personally attacked you. And trust me, y'all, I have gotten nasty emails. Okay. Just from people who are just unhappy people in life. But that's just one hack that I will share with you. The second hack is have pre-written response templates or pre-written responses in general. So you guys know, if you've ever done a customer service chat with a business, a lot of times you can tell that it's scripted, but that allows them to be able to respond in a consistent manner and quickly, right? Now, sometimes it can be annoying, right? When it's not personalized or it seems like they're ignoring what your issue is. I'm not telling you to be tone deaf, but you want to have some templates kind of pre-written so that if you're getting recurring questions, you can immediately answer those questions with a pre-written template, and you don't have to keep writing something up. So that's actually something that you can save. If you have Gmail, you can actually save email templates so that literally you can respond with the template and make some personalizations if you have to. So that's a time saver. And again, that goes back to having consistency and communication. And then the other thing is, it'll help when you get a VA. It'll help them because they can just use those templates and their response will be in the tone that you want your brand to have. So nothing is going to have a different tone among different customers. Everything is going to be standard. So those are two hacks that I would share that would help you, especially for those of you who are in online business, having that admin account, and then also having pre-written response templates. And again, I've already said this before, having standard operating procedures written out, recorded, so that you have consistent processes and interactions with your customers and your clients. All right. So as always, I hope that you found this episode helpful. If you did, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a review. And with that, I'll talk to you in the next episode.